Welcome to the Pocket Pod. We're going to be talking about all things Pokemon Pocket. A lot of people are wondering, is the game pay to win? What are the top decks? Are there any leaks or data mines? And what packs should you open first? We're going to talk about all that and a little bit more. I will be joined by my co-host Willow, card gamer extraordinaire. And yeah, we're just really hyped about Pocket. So let's jump into it. So today we're going to talk about monetization. Is the game free to play or pay to win? We're going to talk about the top decks. We're going to talk about which packs to open and also some leaks, some juicy details on leaks, upcoming promos, and other stuff. How you doing, Willow?
I'm doing fantastic. One of us was a little bit late here, so I'm recovering from a flexible schedule that I've had all week. I'm super tired right now, but it's okay. It's time to talk about Pokemon Pocket. It's time to wake up. Pokemon Pocket is on the mind.
Yeah, it's coming out in a couple weeks now, and we thought it'd be nice to start a podcast so we could just talk about all our thoughts on it. And with that, we want to talk about monetization. Is it pay to win? Is it free to play? What do you think?
It's weird because the game has like such a different way of card acquisition compared to most card games. Well, yeah, compared to most card games, because most card games, especially digital card games, like to have the duplicate protection stuff, and we don't have that in this game. And we're working with limited systems. We don't have everything that we're going to have for card acquisition. Trading's not in the game, even though we know trading's coming. But of the systems we have right now, I think the game really rewards you for being a casual player and being a big spender. If you're in like the middle, I feel like it's kind of awkward. It doesn't quite strike if you're spending small amounts. If you're spending lots, it feels really good. And if you're engaging with the game very casually, I think it feels really good. But
yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of in the middle. I don't spend an insane amount, or actually maybe I do. But I feel like with $100, you can pretty much get like all the cards you need. Most of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think I did 2 days of max spending, which I think ended up being around 400 New Zealand. And I had like way too much stuff, but also not enough for like the arts or whatever if you wanted to run 2 of each. But you also get like the pack dust and everything. I think it's called pack dust, right? That's the way you like craft cards. So it's
pack points.
Pack points? Okay, there you go. Pack points. Yeah, and I feel like I was kind of just able to make everything I wanted from that, which felt pretty generous to me coming from Snap mostly. Snap is incredibly predatory with their monetization. With this, I feel like it's quite easy to get a collection going. And I know a lot of people who are free to play and they're playing solid competitive decks within a few days just based on what they've opened. Like you're not going to be able to play tons of different decks, but you'll be able to play like 1 or 2. So.
Yeah, that's kind of speaks to how Pokemon Pocket's gameplay works as well, where once you have all of the trainer cards, you only need like 1 or 2 sets of cards to like look at Mewtwo Gardevoir example, which is probably the most stacked, like you need this many cards to play a competitive deck, right? You need your Mewtwo EXs, you need your whole Gardevoir line. That's a lot of cards to get a deck building, but even still, that's a low number of Pokemon, right? It's just the Mewtwo's and the Gardevoir line. So that even if that's the deck you want to play, maybe you didn't get that, but odds are you've pulled something that's like decent and fun. Because basically, even though Pokemon Pocket is a 20 card deck game, only a very small percentage of those 20 cards is like cards you're trying to pull in packs. For the most part, you've got your like half of your deck or even more is trainers anyway. So yeah. So basically, it can feel pretty bad sometimes if you don't have the cards you want, but you're never like 15 cards away from building a competitive deck. You know what I mean? You're always like 1 or 2 cards away if you don't have the cards you need.
Right. Yeah, I think it feels bad if you're trying to run like a Mewtwo deck, for example, and you don't have like your second Gardevoir, and you just can't seem to pull it. And that's like you need to run 2 copies in order for the deck to be consistent enough. So when something like that happens, it can be quite frustrating. Or if you're like trying to run a Charizard deck and you can't get your second Charizard EX, like what do you do? It's inconsistent if you're only running 1 and you can't seem to open it and you just need the pack points. So it's hard with a situation like that, but generally it does feel nice, I think.
Yeah, I think so. There is like kind of a weird thing where if you're engaging with it casually and you're in that situation, right? You're missing your one piece, like maybe you don't have your Curlier or your Gardevoir, for whatever reason, you just can't pull it. It's weird that the currency that you have for crafting is tied to opening packs as opposed to having excess copies of cards, which is what we've seen in other games with this type of dusting mechanic. Because if you don't have the ability to open packs, you're already locked out from getting the card. And if you're like in a situation where it's like, oh, I can't get the card because I don't have the resources to open the pack, I also can't increase the amount of pack points I have available to me by opening packs, right? You're locked out from both of those systems if you don't currently have the card. So that can feel a little bit weird. So I hear a lot of people talking about, oh, I wish I could dust my excess copies to be able to use on pack points.
Yeah.
But I think the systems they have in place currently make sense. It's just a bit unintuitive if you've come from a different card game.
Hearthstone, maybe.
Hearthstone
the dusting. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of card games copied the dust system as well. So.
Yeah, true. I don't know. Like, it just seems way more affordable than a lot of the other card games I've played. It seems more affordable than Hearthstone to me. I think a lot of this will change when maybe expansions start dropping or new sets. Like, how much is that going to cost? If it's, $200 every time and they're releasing one every other month, like that's going to be very different than if they drop one every 3 months or every 4 months. I don't really know the cadence. I don't think they've said anything about that, but they have so much they can release that I feel like it could come at like an alarming rate, like every other month, which would be nice, but more expensive.
Yeah, the only thing we know about the type of content, how frequently we're going to get it, is that I believe at the New York event, they just said that they want different sizes of sets. So sometimes they'll do small sets, sometimes they'll do gigantic genetic apex sized sets. But outside of that, we don't know how frequently those will come. And then obviously that affects how expensive the game is as a result of just having access to more cards. But
yeah, I heard about mini sets. Mini sets would be cool. I mean, coming from Snap, I'm used to like weekly patches nearly, which is nice. It keeps the metagame fresh. But with a game like this, if they're not intending on doing like balance or anything, the only way to shake up the meta would probably just be releasing those mini sets or those new cards. So it'll be interesting. Like Cedar sucks, but if they release Kingdra.
Yeah. That's a kind of an interesting thing, especially when you look at cards like Onyx, where it can be targeted by Brock. When we get a new Steelix, it's kind of like a thing you need to keep in mind when you evaluate how good Steelix is. Like, oh, well, before I evolve into my Steelix, I can always play Brock on my Onyx and I do something like that. So it's cool to see once we get additional evolutions for cards that we know will have evolutions at some point that don't currently.
We could talk about the top decks right now, maybe. I think you are you're a top meta player. You play the good stuff.
Is that what I am?
And I mean, there's no ranked or anything, so it's hard to tell. Maybe we should play against each other and see who wins more. But I've personally been experimenting with a lot of decks instead of playing the good stuff. Like I'm messing around today. I was messing around with like a fossil deck that only ran 1 Meowth, 0 Pokeballs.
I like that.
And it was fun. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be top meta, but it was definitely a good time. And I like messing around with things like Venusaur. I was running like a Venusaur Beedrill deck, which I'm sure is not the best. It's probably just going to be that Caterpie build, but I'm just trying to experiment and have a good time because there's no ranked. Or like I like this Tentacruel, Greninja deck. That's a good time, but it's probably just going to be like Mewtwo's and Starmie decks at whatever a top of meta would be. Maybe the Pikachu deck? I don't know. I'm curious to think what you think the top 3 decks are.
I think if you have to pick 3 decks right now, it's Articuno carry, which is what I call the Articuno Starmie stuff, which should probably just be called Misty carry if we're being honest. But yeah, the 2 water guys, the 2 water EX cards, and then Mewtwo Gardevoir, and then I do think Pikachu EX is in the conversation. Pikachu EX is kind of weird because of all of the hyper consistent decks that are in the game right now, Pikachu EX runs a really high number of basic Pokemon, which is kind of like the opposite of how you want to build good Pokemon Pocket decks.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like an interesting outlier. But yeah, I'd say those are like the top 3 right now. Those are the decks to beat. When you think about, how good is this deck? the way you're evaluating that should be through the lens of how well does it perform against those 3 decks.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. Like, Mewtwo is so dang strong. I feel like when they curve out really well, if they get a Gardevoir like on turn 4 or whatever, like you're cooked. There's nothing you can really do. And it was kind of frustrating, I think, just playing against that. Just trying to experiment with other things. The deck is just so strong if you're able to pull it off.
Strong and consistent too. Like it doesn't need much to get going. Sure, like it does have those high rolly scenarios where it gets off Gardevoir super early, but it also doesn't need to get there every game. Just swinging for 50 on a 2-cost attack is sometimes enough to have strong enough tempo that they don't need the Gardevoir. So yeah, the deck can run really hot pretty consistently. Yeah,
are you running just two Mewtwo EXs and 2 Gardevoir lines, or are you only doing 1 Ralts? What are you doing? I know there's a lot of...
I'm doing 2 Mewtwo, 1 Ralts, and 2 of the rest of the Ralts line.
Yeah.
And then no other basic Pokemon. I know there's a lot of people running Jinx. I think that's
bad. Wrong.
I think we just yeah. I think it's just all in on Mewtwo.
So it's just 7 Pokemon. And then
you just
13 trainers.
As many trainers as you can get in there. I'm a big fan of Giovanni in Mewtwo lists because it lets the 50 become a 60, which clears basic Pokemon that you would otherwise not be able to clear. Like, a lot of the basic Pokemon are either at 50 or 60. A decent number of them are at 60, and then Mewtwo is able to one-shot them with Giovanni, which can feel pretty clutch.
Wow. Yeah, Giovanni's pretty good, especially if you're running so many trainer cards. It's like you might as well throw them in there. But you got X speeds in here, so you can pull Mewtwo back. Get 2 potions.
Yeah, you gotta run X speeds. The main reason you want to run X speeds is just because of the times when you lead with Ralts and being able to get Ralts out of the active for free.
Yeah, that would suck. Just getting a Ralts in your opener. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely want to lead with Mewtwo.
All right, so they get 2 potions, 2 X speed, 2 Pokeballs, 1 red card, 2 Pot of Greeds, Professor's Research, 2 Giovanni, 2 Sabrina. All right, there you go. Easy deck. That one's fun. I personally wish the game was a little bit different because you're so incentivized to run a minimal amount of Pokemon. And I feel like that kind of just changes the whole dynamic of the game. But yeah, like that Articuno deck, which is just running 2 Articunos and 18 trainer cards or whatever, or sometimes you splash in a Starmie. Is it 1 Starmie? Yeah. 1 or 2 Starmies, 1 Staryu, and then 2 Articunos.
People are doing different things. I'm not up to date on exactly what people think is best right now, because honestly, whenever I play that deck, chat yells at me for being boring. So I'm not allowed to play that deck. But yeah, the last time I was experimenting with it, I was doing 2 Articuno, 1 Staryu, but 2 Starmie. Basically, the theory was that I wanted to start with Articuno, but Starmie can sometimes be a better option. But honestly, it's kind of awkward. Yeah, I'm not super in love with the Starmie in that particular strategy. Don't get me wrong, I think Starmie's a great card. But Starmie feels a little bit weird, because if they snipe Staryu, it ruins the prize point math. Because the whole point of the Articuno, or the 18 trainer style of deck building, was to force the opponent to have to kill 2 EX Pokemon. And now sometimes, because you're running Starmie, they'll be able to kill a Staryu and get 1 prize point. Now they only have to kill 1 EX Pokemon. You gotta be a little bit careful with it.
That's a big thing to consider. It can get a little confusing on like how to build your deck if you start considering Sabrinas and everyone's running 2 Sabrinas.
Yeah.
And it's like, they just, you're building up your Venusaur's on an Ivysaur and they kill your front line, or they Sabrina your front line. You have to pull out your Ivysaur and then just gets 1 shot and then you lose. So I feel like that adds a lot to deck building.
Some people are even running stage 2 Pokemon that has the Sabrina text on it. They take up 6 of their deck slots to run Pidgeotto and Pidgeot as well. So you've got to worry about that and Sabrina as well.
Are you a Pidgeot hater?
Oh, I'm absolutely a Pidgeot hater. I think the card's garbage, but everyone loves the card, so I have to mention it and take shots at it as much as I can.
I feel like it feels a little bit awkward. I like messing around with it, but yeah, you might as well just run 2 Sabrinas and some good cards, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, a 2 cost 70 isn't actually that bad. I played a little bit of Pidgeot mainly to appease my chat.
Yeah.
And I'll say the thing that surprised me the most is how effective just a 2 cost 70 damage was. So, I mean, granted it's on a stage 2, but a 2 cost 70 damage and a Sabrina every turn.
Yeah.
it's better than I gave it credit for, but I still think it sucks.
Yeah, I think getting a Pidgeotto out there early and getting some chip damage in with your Gust, and then maybe turning it into a Pidgeot and doing like a wing attack or two, and then just retreating it and then only using it for its ability is nice. But taking 6 deck slots is a lot when you could just run Sabrina. But it's fun. It's fun to mess around with different cooks.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
This is the time to do it too. While everyone's experimenting and whatever, you'll be the experimental niche stuff that won't feel very good once the meta is solved. This is the time to play it, right? This is the time to identify it and have as much fun as possible before everyone starts playing only Zapdos 18 Trainer. Boom.
Yeah. Once people figure out the meta and they just start playing only the best stuff, I feel like that's when it's going to get a bit stale. But, you know, maybe that won't happen until ranked mode comes out, and then you could still play casual mode and mess around with fun stuff like Nidoking, Nidoqueen's a ton of fun, but it takes 12 cards and there are 2 stage 2 lines. So maybe the perfect Nidoking, Nidoqueen deck hasn't been discovered yet, but I feel like it just doesn't exist. It's just not good in a competitive format. They
take up so many deck slots that it's like, okay, I have no wiggle room here. This just has to be the deck. You know, I can't afford to put in more Pokemon because I've, you know, there's 12 deck slots right here already. So yeah, it's kind of awkward for them, but they're really fun when they get going. And you'll be surprised, like a Nidoqueen, you read the text and you're like, wow, I need 2 Nidokings and played for this. It's going to be awesome when I get my 2 Nidokings. But really, you only need the one. Like a 130 swing isn't that bad. So
yeah, that's pretty
Nidoqueen
good.
can feel pretty good.
I haven't played this deck in a while. Like maybe it's actually good now that I'm a little better at playing the game. You know, I should try it out.
Oh no, I promise you it sucks, but it can feel really fun to go big Nidoqueen numbers can definitely get there in some matchups.
Okay. Well, what packs do you think we should recommend people to open? I know this is one of the main questions I get while I'm streaming. People come in, they're like, "Hey, what should I open? Should I open Charizard?" And now that we kind of know the top decks, maybe we can properly advise people on which packs to open. I mean, ideally, you would just pull up the list you want and see what comes from what pack and try and build that. But like Mewtwo and Gardevoir both come from the Mewtwo packs, right?
Yeah, and the nice thing about... I actually really like the Mewtwo packs. I think if you don't want to dive super deep and figure out exactly what you want your 20 card list to be, and you just want to say, hey, I just want to target one pack, tell me what pack to target, I think you should absolutely target the Mewtwo packs. Because not only do they have the Mewtwo Gardevoir line in it, but they also have Articuno in it, which is a deck on his own. So, yeah, I think Mewtwo is absolutely the best target. And I would say 100% avoid Charizard, because Charizard has the 2 chase cards, the 2 cards you want the most in there, are Moltres and Charizard, and they both need each other for their deck. Charizard's not particularly good without Moltres. Moltres is not particularly good without Charizard. So it feels really bad if you pull one and not the other. And you'd want 2 copies of both as well. And you want the full Charizard line. So yeah, I would probably just avoid Charizard unless you're willing to open up a lot more packs. If you're going completely free to play, probably avoid Charizard.
Yeah, I think Mewtwo is probably the way to go until you get that deck. But it all depends on your incentive. Like, what do you really want? Do you want to play the best deck over and over again? Or do you want to play a Charizard deck? Because in that case, it's fine. Like, you might not get 2 Charizards for quite a while. But it's I think because it's just a casual mode, like you should just open what has the Pokemon that you like in it. If you really like Pikachu, open the Pikachu deck. Like it's totally fine.
Yeah, I think that's also a great way to approach it. If you're, especially because the vast majority of the EX cards are playable. So with a handful of exceptions, I'm looking at you, Arcanine. Okay. What happened?
It's so bad.
But I actually don't know what happened to poor Arcanine. Okay. But yeah, so as long as you're pulling packs, you hit an EX card, you'll find every single one of these packs have something in it that once you get it, you can build something around it that will be good. It might not be the best thing, but you'll have something in there that you can at the very least have fun with. So if you're not trying to play like super competitively, just what's your favorite Pokemon? What pack is it in? Open that one.
Yeah, I think it's as simple as that. But yeah, seeing that 2 of the top decks are probably running stuff from Mewtwo. If that is what you want, then the answer is probably Mewtwo. Just get the Articuno.
Good point to mention that if you're playing completely free to play and you do want a more quote unquote competitive collection, you should probably do the reset method that a lot of people are doing, where they open up, you know, the first bit of tutorial packs that you get, like I think it's like 20 to 30 packs or something like that you get from the tutorial, and then go into your settings. If you don't like what you got, go into settings, and I think it's like account, and then you need to go back into it. Account, boom,
delete save data.
You don't want to click that button.
I do not.
But the people at home, if they didn't like what they got on their first account, they can hit that button and then go again until you get exactly what you want, and then boom, you'll be good to go. The thing I'm curious to see is what happens when we get future expansions. Will that beginning tutorial phase of the game show you those future expansion packs? Because then people could really abuse this reset system on top of something like trading to kind of manipulate what they get in the early stages of expansions, which is kind of an interesting conundrum this game has to think about.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of people are talking about how they can exploit trading. They could just make a bunch of accounts and trade them all to the same account, but we don't really know how trading is going to work just yet. I've heard a lot of theories. I don't think anything's concrete, but a lot of people are saying you can only trade of the same rarity. So if you want to trade a crown, you need to have a crown. Or if you want to trade something, you need to have at least 3 copies of it, is another one that I've heard. So I don't know. I personally don't have any crowns yet, so I can't like start a new account, get a crown, and trade it to me. I've opened so many packs and I have no crown. Like, what the...
The odds, me and my friends sat down and did the math for how many packs on average you would need to pull to get a crown. It's like way higher than you would think. I'll do the math again, and we'll leave it in the description, or something like that. But yeah, you need a silly number of packs to get a crown on average. Yeah. I also do not have a crown.
Oh, thank goodness! I would have felt so bad if you had one and I didn't.
While we're on the topic of like how to build your account and efficiently use your resources and that type of thing, one thing to keep in mind is that pack points, at least based on this UI, seems to be tied to the expansion. We don't know that for sure, but when you go to like your account and you look at the amount of resources you have available to you, it does not show you your pack points. The only way you can see the amount of pack points you have is by going to the Genetic Apex screen. So that makes me think that pack points are tied to the expansion. So if you're trying to hold on to all your pack points for set 2 or something like that, I don't think that's going to work for you.
That's true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you don't actually see. I was so confused for a while. I'm like, how did I find my pack points? And it's like, yeah, you actually got to click this.
You have to go into here,
and then it shows your pack points.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to buy all my crowns at this point, by the way.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do the same thing if I want the crowns. I'm gonna be so lucky. I'm actually saving all of my hourglasses because unlike pack points, hourglasses are account bound. So my idea is that I'm just gonna stack up all of my hourglasses for set 2 and open up an ungodly amount of packs on day 1.
Oh my god. I've been just spending them. Which is, whatever, it's fun.
I gotta go collection complete on set 2. I gotta be ready, you know?
Yeah. Oh my god. Dude, I was wasting so many pack points on like the first couple days. I was like, oh, I still need a Gardevoir. And then I just would make a Gardevoir and pain when I just opened one the next day.
You've got way more pack points than me, though. Are you complete collection?
Yeah. Are you not?
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm complete collection. Not with that many pack points, I'm not. You know.
Yeah, and I've at least
0 pack points.
I've spent like 1,500 pack points as well. No, I have so many, and I started opening things in Japanese for fun as well.
Oh my god, you have way more cards than I do.
3,500. Is that a lot?
Yeah, I think I only have like 2,500.
Oh, you gotta catch
up.
You gotta use those hourglasses.
How many packs have you been opening? You've been like full collection and still full spending every day. What's going on over here?
I think in total, I've probably done about 4 days of full spending.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And then other than that, I just open them for free. But sometimes I forget to open my free packs.
You forget to open your daily pack?
Yeah, like I'm busy with Snap. That's the best part about the game, man. Opening the pack? No, I like the battles personally. So.
Well, what I mean to say is that you get a free pack, or you get 2 free packs every day. Yeah. That's the best part about it. Like that feels really good, especially if you're a free-to-play player. That must feel really good to just be like, oh, I didn't have to do anything today. I got home after a long day of work. Now I get 2 Pokemon Pocket packs.
I know. Yeah, it's nice. It's a good feeling, but I do still forget. Did you know your season pass ones, they could stack twice? You can get 2 of them.
Oh, I did not know that. I would always just spend them because the UI to me does not suggest that you can stack 2.
Yeah, you
if you're telling me you can, you must be able to.
So if you forget to play the game for 2 days, you come back and you have 4 packs to open. So
nice.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
My premium pass bugged out, and then my method of spending money in this game I no longer have access to. which obviously I don't have any tricky method because I moved to New Zealand, of course. But if I did have some tricky method, it stopped working. So I actually don't have access to my free extra pack a day right now, which is kind of unfortunate. I have to wait until October 30th. Yeah.
Oh, that's why I have so many more cards than you.
Yeah, that's it. The one extra pack a day, that's made up the 1,000 cards.
Yep, absolutely. Should we talk about some leaks, maybe a little bit?
Yeah, we can do that. Truth be told, there's not too much to go over here. The biggest thing is new cards. Well, new cards and alternate art. We have 2 different methods of new cards coming to the game. We have wonder-pick cards that are kind of stamped with this Chansey icon. I assume you can put these on screen.
Yeah, I'll flash them.
Yeah, so these cards are going to be obtained through wonder picks. We don't know how that's going to work. It's just, you can actually see them in-game. Do you want to pull them up in-game?
Sure. But also, this is a podcast, so maybe some people will not be watching, you know?
Oh, yeah, true.
But
true.
I could do it anyways for those that are watching.
If you go to any... Well, here, I'll guide the people who are listening.
Yeah,
they can go do it on their phone, okay? So if you go to your collection and you go to any one of these cards, Magnemite, Chansey, Bulbasaur, or Meowth, you can scroll down on their summary screen, and it'll show related cards. And then in that related card screen, you'll see the alternate arts that are coming to the game. And if you click on that one and scroll down, you'll see that it says how it will be added to the game. And in this case, these ones with this kind of pink watermark are going to be added to the game via Wonder Pick.
Yeah.
And then we have...
how that works.
Yeah, we have no idea how that works right now because obviously Wonder Picks, for those who don't know, I assume you do, but for those who don't know, Wonder Picks are just packs that other people have opened. So obviously if these only release via Wonder Pick, how's that work? So we don't know about that just yet. And then we have promo pack cards. Again, we don't know how these are exactly coming to the game, but you can also see these in-game if you go to Haunter, Onyx, Butterfree, Jigglypuff, Greninja, Venusaur, Mankey, Clefairy, or Pikachu. You can see an alternate art that isn't in the game yet, and then those are releasing via something that are being called promo packs. And there's also a Lapras EX, but you can't view that in game right now.
I wonder how is this? It's just normal Mewtwo, right? It's not.
Yeah, the normal Mewtwo is the one getting the alternate art. This one is not releasing via a promo pack. This one's releasing through a mission. It says obtained from a mission, so we don't know what that is either. I assume we're going to find out literally all of this information on October 30th, though. So that'll be an interesting day.
Sometimes I'm like, oh, they've been kind of poor with their communication, and then I remember the game's not actually out completely yet.
Yeah, I see people complaining about that in my Twitch chat. It's like, bro, there's no new content in this game. It's been Resident Sleeper for 3 weeks or whatever. It's like, you guys know the game's not out, right? Like, the game is not releasing for another month. Chill out. You know?
It's not even trading yet. We need trading.
Yeah, they did say trading was coming after launch, so we're waiting. That's coming after October 30th.
Yeah, I think people were telling me in like Pokemon Go, it took like months, if not over a year, for them to release trading, and that was something they were talking about like before the game even came out. Hopefully, it doesn't take that long.
I doubt it would take that long, especially because, well, they're just like 2 different companies, right? It's all Pokemon, but you know the people who made Pokemon Go aren't making Pokemon Pocket, so I wouldn't read too much into the like release schedule of other Pokemon games compared to this.
That's a good point.
But we'll see.
Yeah. All right, so some of these promo cards actually are different than the normal cards. We got Haunter here. Still 70 health. I think the other one's 70 health. This one does
70.
surprise attack 50 damage. And you flip a coin. If tails, it does nothing. So more damage, but more RNG. Also only requires 1 energy. I think the other one, does it require 2? Let me pull it up.
Yeah, the other Haunter is 30 attack, 1 cost. Other than that, it's identical. So it's plus 20 damage compared to the current Haunter we have, but it's tied to a coin flip, and on a fail, it does 0.
It's also less healthy. This one's 80 HP.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Oh, man.
So yeah, it's a little bit... I will say, the Ghastly line wants to sit on the bench. It doesn't want to sit there and fight. So it's not like you want to be swinging with Haunter 1 for 30 anyway. So it's actually like a world where maybe this new promo Haunter is better for the situations where the math can make a difference. You would push to kill something you wouldn't otherwise be able to kill. In the situations where you you fail, you evolve into your Gengar and you do that. But honestly, I expect that the current version of Haunter will be quote unquote better than this new one. But
yeah, I think the health and the consistency is just better. I'm personally really bad at flipping coins. Like I don't like Misty. I don't like this concept. I just played a Lickitung deck today for the last time. So it's like I just can't win a coin flip to save my life. That's why I like the consistent stuff. Like Mewtwo, for example, is so strong because it's consistent. Not that I like that deck because it's, it's the kind of boring now. But yeah, coin flips are not for me. I try and avoid them when possible.
Yeah, I can respect that for sure. I think that honestly, it's just going to be a health check here. We'll just take the basic Haunter just because it has more health.
Yeah. And then Mankey. Mankey's new as well. Mankey 50 health. But now Mankey hurts themselves. With Reckless Charge, 1 energy investment, you will do 30 damage and also damage yourself for 10, which is quite nice for Primeape, who does a lot of damage. 100 damage Primeape does. And no one's actually running him because I guess you could kind of play around him. You just one-shot him. But the fact that you can Mankey, get a hit in, maybe pull it back, and then turn into Primeape and come out swinging. I think this is better than the other Mankey.
Oh yeah, 100%. I don't even think it's close. Like, I don't think Mankey Primeape makes it into any optimized competitive lists currently, but this new Mankey, there's actually a chance this is playable. Over the course of like 2 turns... Wait, hold on. Before I commit to this, Primeape is a 2-cost attack, right?
I believe so. Also, something to consider is this promo Mankey is also 10 less HP. Everything's just weaker. And he hurts himself, so you will die if a Farfetch hits you once.
But we want to hurt ourselves, okay? We want to hurt ourselves. It's important for our Primeape damage, okay?
Yep.
130 damage over the course of 2 turns. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's
not
pretty
bad.
Good. Yeah, you could really run away with the game, I think. If you go second with this, you get Mankey out there, you hit them, they don't have a Farfetch'd, you turn into Primeape, like, that's you run away with the game, I think.
Yeah, it's also some of the better burst damage you have at 2 cost that isn't tied to a coin flip.
Yeah.
Obviously, something like Marowak is dealing more damage for the same cost. But if you're like Dekkster and you don't want to put coin flips in your deck, Primeape is the best damage for cost you're looking for on a stage 1 Pokemon, I think, right now, period.
Also only 1 prize point.
Yeah, also only 1 prize point, which is good.
Yeah. All right, what's the other different one? It's Jigglypuff, right?
Jigglypuff and then Lapras EX is like a brand new card.
Oh, wow. Yeah, let's pull up Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff kind of unplayable at the current time, I think.
Yeah, Jigglypuff having a 2-cost attack for just 30 is pretty bad.
That's a huge investment. Wigglytuff is 3 energy, right?
Yeah, which means the whole line has to play off curve.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Yeah, it's super unfortunate. But new Jigglypuff has 50 health and a 1-cost investment for her attack, and her attack is a forced sleep.
That is so good.
I'm actually so excited about this Jigglypuff. She has to be good, no?
No, that's
she will be playable in something. A guaranteed sleep, colorless guaranteed sleep.
I think
even
this kind of seems busted a little bit.
You think so?
Yeah. No, that's so good. And then your opponent can't win a coin flip if it's me, at least. And then you just win. You just start developing your bench. Maybe instead of Caterpie in your Venusaur decks, you're gonna start putting this Jigglypuff just so you keep them asleep and you keep developing your bench.
The use I'm most excited for this Jigglypuff is my Dragonite deck. I think I cut my Frostmoth line, and then I can just run the 2 Jigglypuff instead, and I don't have to do any evolving. I only have to commit 1 energy as opposed to 2 for Frostmoth. I just have a basic guaranteed sleep that can sit in the active spot for me while I build up my Dragonites.
Yeah, no, that's really smart, I think, because you're just trying to stall until you bring out the Dragonite. Yep.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
That's so good. And then
I think I'm more excited for this than I am for the big new EX card.
More than the Lapras EX. It's okay. Lapras EX, 140 HP. Bubble Drain. With the 2 water and 1 colorless, it'll do 80 damage and it'll heal 20 from this Pokemon. So it's like Kabutops adjacent. But that's it. 3 energy is still a lot, but I guess you do have Misty. So you can have Lapras out maybe instead of like Articuno. But is that really worth it? I guess it's harder to kill than an Articuno.
It's way harder to kill than an Articuno. Imagine if the opponent had a potion every turn on their Articuno. How sad would you be? And this is just that. The people are doubting this card a lot, by the way. The general sentiment is that this card is bad, but I don't think it is. I think it's like, I think it's pretty comparable to Articuno. The biggest downside this card has over Articuno is it doesn't have a 2-cost attack. So it has to get the 3 before it can start swinging, where Articuno can swing for 40 at 2 cost. So it takes a little bit longer for Lapras to get going, but Lapras having access to guaranteed sustain, she's kind of like a mini Venusaur that I don't have to like commit 6 deck slots to. I only have to commit 1 or 2 deck slots to. And I can just sometimes start the game with her and play.
This seems so good.
I'm a huge fan of this.
Yeah, this seems really good. I feel like this might make Blastoise quite a bit better as well. Although you're probably better if you just don't run Blastoise. But yeah, this fills the Articuno hole. I guess if you don't want to run Articuno, you just experiment with this instead. Yeah, if you land a good Misty, you just start winning. But yeah, I could see that. You don't have the 2 energy attack, but who cares?
I think right now a lot of we talked a little bit earlier on about how a lot of Articuno decks are splashing in like the 1 Starmie or whatever. I think instead they splash in the 1 Lapras EX, and that's just the Lapras EX deck. It's double Articuno, double Lapras, or just 1 Lapras, and that's their deck. Mission complete. The worst thing, I will also mention, Lapras has a 3-cost retreat, which hurts it a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say Starmie has a 0-cost retreat. I feel like they fill a very different hole, but
yeah, honestly, the main reason the Starmie shows up in that list is just because it's like another EX, and it's a 2-cost damage. Just yeah. But yeah, this is honestly, I'm really divided on whether this is better than Articuno or not. Man, they gave Water so much love in Genetic Apex. Water got everything, man.
Yeah, except they don't have Gardevoir. They have Misty.
True, they don't have Gardevoir.
I hate Misty. I can't Misty.
Such a Misty hater. You need they need to print the supporter just for you. Oh, actually, I guess if they made this a supporter, it wouldn't work. But I was gonna say they need to print the supporter that's like the first coin flip you do each turn is guaranteed heads.
Yes. Oh my god. Is that a card? I feel like that would be so good. I'm excited for them to add more supporter stuff. I think one of the downsides of this game is that it doesn't really feel like a 20-card deck. It feels like a 12-card deck, which is actually just a 6-card deck if you're running doubles. It's like most decks have 2 Pokeballs, you have 2 Professor Oaks, and then 2 X Speeds or whatever, 2 Sabrinas. I don't know. It's so the deck kind of makes itself. So when they add these new supporters or items, I feel like it's going to change it up a lot.
Yeah, I hope so. I will say I think it will take us a while to get to that point because until we get more and more cards like Brock or Misty or Lieutenant Surge, these cards that specifically want you to be playing like this archetype, it's really hard to justify running different supporters. It feels like there's always like, oh, I need to be running 2 Oak, I need to be running 2 Pokeball, and then every decision after that is just how many slots do I have available. So it's like, oh, I'm probably just running 2 X Speed because like I have the room for it. I'm probably just running 2 Potions because I have the room for it. And that evaluation, even if we get more trainers, it's just going to be the same. It's just going to be like, okay, is Potion better or worse than the new trainer? And the only time that decision-making process gets more interesting is when you have more valuable cards. Like when I'm choosing between Misty and Misty 2, there's more interesting decisions to make there, whatever the next big water support trainer is. When I'm choosing between those 2 things, then it gets interesting, I think.
Yeah.
Which I think it'll take us quite a while to get to that point, unfortunately. But.
Yeah. No, sounds about right. I mean, I think we could do a lot of complaining on things we would want to be changed, such as maybe EX Pokemon not being drawn in your opening hand. But maybe we'll save that for episode 2 instead of talking about it right now. Yeah, maybe that's the end of episode 1.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Episode 1 of the Pocket Pod.
Pocket Pod is, I
Down.
think, yeah, Pocket Pod. It's a good name. It's fun to say. Pocket Pod.
Yeah, Pocket Pod.
Pocket Pod.
You
Yeah.
don't seem so sure. You seem unconvinced.
No, I think it's good. But like, will other people also think it's good? I mean, it's not like
Yeah.
Snapchat, you know, like there's a big app called Snapchat as well. But Pocket Pod?
Yeah.
It's like an audio device. I think we looked at it, right? That's
Yeah,
it,
there's like
that's
the one. I haven't even heard of that company before, so
Me neither. So I think we're
don't worry,
safe.
we'll crush them.
But yeah, you have any closing remarks? Do you want to talk about your stream schedule, your YouTube upload schedule, or anything like that?
Man, my stream schedule is all over the place. I'm on the schedule now to be uploading daily. I slowed down so much because I had this one big video where I decided to record a review of every single card in the game, which was the biggest mistake of my life. It's an hour and 20-minute long video that's highly edited. Oh my god, never again. But now that I've gotten that out of the way and I've recovered from that, there will be daily videos on the YouTube channel. And then I stream every day, starting at a variable time depending on what I got going on. So yeah. Generally, it's around nighttime for America though. So
Yeah,
whatever that's
well, you get the night shift, I'll get the day shift. You need to change your featured video to not be a DC Dual Force video. Thanks.
Yeah, you're right. I do need to do that.
It's time. It's let's put it to rest. R.I.P.
But
DC
I
Dual
love
Force.
do you know how often people come to my chat and ask about the DC Dual Force poster behind my little avatar thing? Oh man.
You got to get rid of it. It's dead.
Yeah,
It's
you're
never coming back. All right. Thanks for watching or listening, everyone. I'm gonna try and get this on Spotify. I don't know if I can, but if I am able to, you know, go like it or whatever. Give it 5 stars. Is that? I don't even know how Spotify works for pods.
I also couldn't tell you how Spotify works.
I'll try and get it on Apple Pods, and I think that's it. YouTube, Apple Pods, Spotify. Let me know if you want it anywhere else, because I think it's quite an application. But yeah, thanks for listening and or watching, and we'll see you next week for episode 2.